Leftist insanity and propaganda helped claim the life of another innocent man. Following George Floyd's death, there were protests around the nation. Most of them, of course, turned into riots, despite being mostly peaceful. This, of course, also happened in Omaha, Nebraska, where the life of a man was claimed after he jumped on bar owner Jake Gardner, who then had previously also had fired warning shots, let people know that he had a gun, had been punched, and then was tackled, put in a headlock, and shot the man in question who did so. Originally, Douglas County Attorney Don Kleine refused to prosecute Gardner because he saw video, there is video evidence of it, and it was done in self-defense. To read what actually took place from Wikipedia, because this is on video, this is going to be fairly accurate representation of what took place. During the protest, windows were broken at various businesses on the corner of 12th and Hamey Street, including at the bar of Jake Gardner. Omaha police had obtained video surveillance that Scurlock had actively participated in the destruction of the business office RDG Planning and Design, located at 13th and Hamey Street. See, Scurlock is the man in question who lost his life, at least the first one who did, and we're giving him his bona fides as a peaceful protester. You know, because peaceful definitely includes putting somebody in a headlock, attacking them, and destroying property. Anyways, shortly before the altercation with Gardner, less than 1 block away, Jacob and his father, David Gardner, went outside the bar, and David pushed 2 protesters when telling them to leave. After getting pushed himself, David was punched by one man hard enough to land on his back several feet away. A verbal altercation between Jacob and a group of protesters he believed had pushed his father ensued. Jacob positioned himself in the midst of the protesters. Jacob lifted his shirt, making it known he was carrying a concealed handgun in his waistband. He held the weapon at his side in his right hand, and as he was backing up towards his bar, he was tackled to the ground by 2 protesters. They assaulted him. Jacob fired 2 shots in the air, which he would later describe as warning shots to the police. Sounds reasonable. He likely could have tagged one of them, and his 2 attackers fled. It was then that Scurlock jumped on Jacob's back after his friends had fled, of course, as he was getting up and held him on the ground in a chokehold or a headlock. After both had struggled for around 20 seconds, with Jacob repeatedly shouting, "Get off me!" Jacob fired a 3rd shot behind his back, striking Scurlock in the clavicle. Scurlock died. So what happened here is a clear case of self-defense. You don't get to jump on somebody that you know in advance has a gun. You don't get to assault him. You don't get to have him fire 2 warning shots, then put a 3rd bullet into you after you've refused to get off of him. You've already punched him and assaulted him. This is clear self-defense. Yet the DA in the case caved in because of the woke pressure. You see, they just continue to mount this narrative that the black men are innocent. In the article that I read that spurred this, the man who was shot was described as an unarmed black man. Yes, that's true. What they don't say is the fact that he had him in a chokehold, that they had previously punched and assaulted him, because this is the media narrative that they're trying to push. All this is to remove Donnie Trump from office and to get more wokeness, and it's absolutely evil in my opinion. Yet who bears the brunt? Because now James Gardner, the man in question here, has committed suicide because now the DA decided to prosecute him and he took his own life. This man was likely hanging on by a thread. You go through this fairly traumatic incident where you are assaulted and then you take somebody's life. That's got to affect the mental state of just about anybody. Originally, they say that they are going to stand with justice, that they are not going to prosecute you, but because of the pressure, they say that they don't want the people to lose faith in the system. You know what's going to have me have faith in the system, in the justice system, is the fact that when you have ample evidence that you don't overturn it because of public pressure. Because Lady Justice is supposed to be blind. You're supposed to be able to examine the evidence in front of you and decide whether or not it's going to make for a good prosecution, whether a prosecution is justified. In this case, it absolutely wasn't. There's video evidence of it once again. So then you cave to the pressure. This man's blood is on the hands of the district attorney in question, who decided to cave. And this is just a wall of continued pressure that the black man can do nothing wrong, because if the races were reversed, believe me, they'd be reporting on all the ills that whitey did to black. And it's not that I'm racist, it's that the media is racist, because if the races were reversed, I'd be standing up for the black man's right to self-defense and saying that the white man in question was wrong. But in this case, the media has decided once again, and there's plenty of narrative to go along this, to back this up, that the black man could do no wrong, and that it was whitey who might have acted in self-defense, despite the fact that it is obvious, describing him as an unarmed black man. And this is the pressure that gets this stupid district attorney to cave. And it sickens me, because this is the dissolution of America. When you cannot stand up for truth, the pillar of truth, which holds our democracy together, is being eroded by the acid of the left, that they continue to pile in. Where there is no truth, there is only power. This is the ethos of postmodernism. And this is what they are after. They are after power. They are continually trying to destroy our country. They are trying to destroy what is true. And the attorney in question here has blood on his hands. When you decide that you are going to cave to political pressure and prosecute somebody who doesn't deserve to be prosecuted, and he commits suicide because of it, you know that you're partly responsible. I'm incredibly angry, because I think that this is the erosion of the United States, and it's taking place more and more rapidly. And this is what happens when acid gets in to a structure. You know, it starts slowly eating away, and then as the structure gets weaker and weaker, it goes faster and faster. And that's why we must push back against it. That's why you out there have to stand up for truth. And when people try to speak untruths to you, when people try to tell you lies on a consistent and regular basis, we must fight back against that by stating what is true and not being scared of their wokeness, of their anger, to stand up for what is in fact veritas. Make that your project veritas. Stand up for what is real. Stand up for what is true, because otherwise we are going to see more incidents such as this one. Otherwise, speak the truth. Subscribe to the channel, thumb this video up and share it. Peace out.